Hey, continuing with my very slow Studio Ghibli Miyazaki film festival spreading over many weeks, like one a weekend, sort of. We watched Princess Mononoke tonight, a 1997 anime film um, where a village of Ameshi, they're kind of like a people who've been defeated and driven out of the main kind of mainstream of Japan are attacked by a demon. And the prince, Prince Akatashi, the last prince of these people, defends and manages to kill it, revealing that the demon underneath the demon is a former boar god that had been horribly wounded by an iron bullet, which had basically rotted it out and left it, I guess, infected to become a demon. Unfortunately, it touched Akatashi before he killed it, and it's infected in him. And the only way he can maybe potentially lift the curse upon himself is to go and go to the um, great forest spirit and potentially get healed. And so but I guess with the laws of the village, he becomes dead to them by leaving. He receives a gift from his bride to be and leaves, and goes to the forest, meeting a kind of an odd monk fellow on the way, who's got a very cynical view on life. Of basically, yeah, everybody dies, life sucks. Um, and He goes and he finds this iron town in the middle of the forest where they have ripped everything up, destroyed everything, and you think, oh, this is going to be the kind of the evil villains of the thing. And indeed, it's led by a lady Eboshi who is very ruthless, but is also someone who has basically bought out all the contracts of all the women working in brothels, and set them to work at her foundry of making weapons and stuff like that. And her plan is, and she's given them a really good life, and she's given all the people around her a good life. She's using this iron to make weapons, and weapons light enough that those women can fight back. This is a time when it seems like samurai soldiers are kind of preying on just all the innocent. Akatashi comes across some samurai soldiers who are butchering poor defenseless villagers, and indeed he shoots at them, and his demon infected arm is so strong that he's like decapitating people left and right. Um, and Lady Eboshi is bringing supplies in and gets attacked by these wolves, and a strange being who's riding one of the smaller wolves, and shoots the main wolf, the big wolf, which is I guess a god, is one of these gods of the forest, of the wolf god, and shoots it. And Akatashi comes upon, after saving a couple of men who'd been knocked into the water wounded, comes upon that wolf god, and the small being who is riding one of the things is like sucking the blood out of sucking the wound of the wolf god. And it turns around, and it's a girl, and her mouth is all smeared with the blood. She wipes it, and she kind of looks at him with hatred. And this turns out to be San, a human girl who was adopted by the wolf god, which is, it's kind of very kind of Mowgli in its way. And indeed, she hates human beings and what they've done, because they've destroyed the forest. Lady Boshi has destroyed the forest, has really messed things up. Um, and She's like, she they kind of ignore him and walk off, and he takes the men back to the iron village, where he meets them, and they're like very humanized, And like, he meets like kind of these brothel ladies who are really happy and are really vibrant. And they've got their husbands and silliness and all that. And it's like Miyazaki really sets up this wonderful thing of it's like these aren't really evil human beings. They're just humans being humans, but they're throwing everything out of balance as they do, and wreaking great destruction and bringing down these gods so that they will just be that there won't be wolf gods anymore or boar gods. They'll just be kind of creatures that, as the boars say, like, yeah, we'll become stupider and stupider until we're just basically things for them to kill for meat, which is it's the thing for vegetarianism right there. um, and it turns out that that monk uh, at the beginning, that's very cynical monk, he's got papers from the emperor who wants to live forever to bring him the head of the forest of the forest the forest god, the spirit, the walker of the spirit, who walks as this great giant diaphanous being at night, but then shrinks down into kind of like an elk-like creature with like bird-like feet and like a you almost slightly kind of human face and these bizarre kind of multi prong antlers during the day. And he's gotten permission to chop its head off and bring the emperor the head to live forever, another subversion of the natural, of interruption. um, and it's just great how it just interplays with all this stuff of like there isn't like it's not a thing where there's a villain, and in the end, things might get green again, but there's this unsettling kind of just dynamic of how human beings and the rest of nature some ways don't go together. And it is going to be it is always will be a struggle, and maybe not a thing that is you see as it goes. It's just as our world is just how we've killed, um, even just in a metaphorical sense, all the spirits of our life. The spirit we've desanctified the natural, and debased it, and not for evil purposes. Sometimes for very altruistic purposes. Some things that are just going to, like, as human beings, we're better. We are better off, but the horror that we've perpetrated on the rest of the world for it. Um, yeah, and I mean, it's one of these things of it's a story where there isn't a happy ending. There isn't a romantically happy ending. There's maybe a bit of a distance, a bit of a tentativeness. There's ambiguity. There's yeah, yeah. So it's a Miyazaki film, and another one that I really enjoyed. I'll leave it at that. More videos later.